On both the male and the female side, who are already making an impact.
Sofia Kenin to serve.
Kenin will get this second rounder underway.
Please, thank you for the scoreboard.
Yeah, just a slight issue with the LED boards at the back there. One of them seems to be malfunctioning.
That can be a bit of a distraction.
Yeah, I think our chair umpire is just informing the players that I may just have to wait a second here. There we go. That's sorted.
Ready, play.
That's a pretty decent start.
15 love.
I like the play from Jessica Pegula. She saw that racket head from Sonia kind of open up, and she immediately followed it. Just was maybe missing that split step before hitting that shot.
How do you compare Kenin to the player she was when she was a major winner, Irina? Has much changed in that period of time, do you think, from her perspective, as a player that she is now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that much has changed. I would probably just speak about the confidence. Yeah, when she won that major, she wouldn't see that kind of mistake just that early on in the point. And I just think that once you win a slam, you have a target on your back. People start scouting you a little bit more, and they see, okay, she has vulnerabilities, let's attack them, and that can really affect you.
Well, something you also highlighted to me half an hour ago is just how effective that shot can be.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have the ability to hit with so much depth, I think the drop shot's just such a good play. Didn't have to do much with it, and I love her placement. She hit it in the middle of the court, really didn't give Pegula an angle.
First game.
100 top 150.
Yep.
Love 15.
Talk about the strike of both players. How do they differ? How does the ball trajectory differ from both players? Because certainly for me as a layman looking at it, looks like Kenin's ball's pretty flat. Is that a fair assumption? It tends to go through the court pretty quickly.
Yes, absolutely. Pegula, though, just does such a great job with utilizing her entire body when hitting. I just feel as though she can strike the ball so well because of just wonderful body control and just great racket head speed as well. I feel as though Sonia gets so much more action because she takes the ball so early, Nick. And that's the one thing I think she's going to be testing is the Pegula second serve today. Kenin does such a good job with applying pressure. She wants to be inside the baseline. That's an incredible point there. Great anticipation there from Sofia Kenin. I just felt as though Jessica Pegula just massaged that ball. Maybe could have gone a little bit more with that swinging volley.
So 2 early opportunities for Kenin. Gets the error. So a good start. Just actually looking at some of the players that Kenin's beaten at majors. Of course, she references had some pretty tough draws, but she's beaten Serena at the French. She beat Barty at the Aussie. She beat Gauff at Wimbledon. So
she knows how to play against top 10 players. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that one of her biggest strengths is that mental toughness. I feel as though it doesn't matter who's on the other side. You know, a lot of players I felt maybe lost the match before they even walked out against Serena. But she was out there and she just played the ball. It didn't matter the opponent.
Almost got there too quickly, didn't she?
Yep.
Got there with so much time to spare.
Didn't have that much real estate to work with when you're standing that close to the net. You want to bring in your margin there. Never looks overly rushed, does Kenin, does she? Even when you've got a ball like that that's got depth on it, she looks as though she still has the ability to be in control of the strike, which is a rare skill to have. She never seems as though she looks rushed, but look at how quickly she goes to that next point. That's the pressure she also can really put on an opponent, especially if you're down. Love too, you know, you feel that pressure of like, okay, I have to make something happen here.
Yeah. There was actually a very interesting contrast with Raducanu the other night, because Emma was very slow, very almost laborious between points, but there was almost kind of a bit of needle in between the two, because one was rushing and the other was the opposite.
Yeah, but credit to Raducanu, because you almost want to change that up. You know, if you have a player that is constantly wanting to get to the next point, if I'm the coach, I would say slow things down. Yep. There's no need to keep up with her pace as long as you're, you know, committed to the serve clock.
Absolutely. Oh, that is so good.
Yeah, once again, just great placement on that drop shot. Didn't have to do a lot with it, but just look at how much she got with her legs, really got under the ball, and that's a lot to the credit of playing doubles. She plays so much doubles, especially with partner Bethany Maddox-Sands. So much more practice, so much more variety with players when they're coming to net.
A little more vulnerable off the forehand wing. Kenin or...
Yeah, I would say so, especially with the firepower coming from Pegula. I feel like that's the side to definitely attack.
Pegula.
It's been an impressive start from both. And they have ensured that
Kenin leads 2
this
games.
match. You mentioned the serve of Pegula. How much more do you think there is to get out of that delivery from what you've seen? Obviously, it's when you, I guess, when you compare it to some of her peers at the top of the game, it's still a little below what they might offer. The likes of Rybakina, obviously. I mean, do you think she can get a bit more out of it, the serve?
I mean, I think that's what the top players are able to do. They tweak the string, they tweak the rackets. They do just so much more. But I think she's got such a fluid motion, and she uses her legs so well. Not a lot can go wrong with her serve, but I think she really makes up for, you know, the miles per hour that maybe Rybakina has with her ground strokes. You know, one of the drills I remember we used to do is serve +1, but you also wanted to work on the serve plus the return and make sure that you just redirected well, especially when they're attacking middle, which seems as though Sonia's really just going towards that middle target deep, not really giving an angle for Jessie.
Yeah, just as a reference point, just looked on the season, Pegula at 73% of holds this year, which by comparison, just to give you a bit of a benchmark, Swiatek's at 83, Sabalenka's at 79, Rybakina's at 79. So get a bit of an idea. But then on the flip side, someone like Paolini's only at 68% of holds. So she's obviously got a lot of game outside the serve.
Right.
Numbers don't always tell the story, as we know.
Wow. That was incredible patience, defensive skills from Jessie Pegula. What a finish. That is her favorite shot, though, Nick.
Yeah.
She did mention that her backhand down the line, that's her favorite shot in tennis. Bread and butter.
Did such a good job keeping the ball deep, didn't she, when she was under pressure in the rally early on. There was a fair bit of it. Yeah, and actually, just to finish the point on the serve, the one number that does stand out for her is actually second serve points won. She's very high in second serve points won in her career. Almost around the bang on the 50% mark, which, just looking at some other players, is a good number. USOpen.org if you haven't been there already. Bit of guidance just being overheard from down beneath us.
I think you called it, Nick. Stay on that forehand, I believe, is what I heard. Wow. You know, a little bit more on what you said about the serve. When you don't have the miles per hour, for example, someone like Elena Rybakina, but you have to have placement.
Yep.
And I think that's what Pegula does so well, because you can hit the ball 200 miles an hour, but if you know where it's going, you can still get a feel for it. You can still get a hit on it.
Love 30.
That was an interesting change, wasn't it? Didn't get the sense Kenin enjoyed that ball coming a little bit lower at her. Bit of hesitation. This has been a poor game. Chances to break.
Pegula.
3 games in a row. At the bottom left. Wonderful arena that is as well.
You just felt Sonia got just so much coverage on that shot, went behind Pegula. That's the thing, when she times that forehand well, it's so deadly. I also feel as though she does a really good job with hiding where she's going with her forehand, and that gives her so much ability to kind of redirect wherever she wants to go. Yeah, disguises that takeaway really well.
Rick Macy was a big influence on Kenin's career, wasn't he, in the early days? Rick is a very well-known coach. He's a man who's a big figure, a big character. And he helped Sofia a lot in those developmental years. Not the shy and retiring type, is he, Rick? He's out there.
Oh, yeah.
Quite in the Bollettieri mould, but character. Certainly helped a lot of players, though, that's for sure. Well, there's the difference when she hits the spot on the serve, as you say, because it's only 104 miles an hour, but if you get that tight to the line, it's going to do some work.
Once again, just disguising that take back. You really have no idea where she's going on that forehand, and I think we were talking about it earlier. She wants to go cross so she can have that ability to go for that down the line, have that open. I think Jessie Pegula was already running towards that backhand side.
Yeah. And I guess as well, Irina, I mean, you've played them both, but does that compromise the split step a little bit as well in terms of when your timing of your move a touch, because you're doubting yourself a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, just when you think you feel you've got a rhythm and you're kind of reading the game, she has that ability to go behind you or go to the open court when you least expect it.
Pick up. Did very well when she got there.
Great speed there by Sonia. Did really well here to anticipate and really control, take care of the ball. Didn't give herself that much margin, but just great target. Stayed through it throughout the entire stroke.
30-15.
Going to be a big factor how well both players defend their second serve today, isn't it? We talked about Pegula's numbers being strong in that regard, but Pegula looks disappointed because there was a little bit of space. She seemed to have it, just didn't have the elevation.
Yeah, and I love that backhand down the line. Pegula uses it so well to get herself out of tough positions, but Kenin doing such a good job taking care of her feet and really taking care of the ball. Smart play there by Pegula. She almost waited to the very last moment to choose her target. Already saw that Kenin was running the other way. What a forehand there. Incredible get by Kenin.
Not been short on quality this match, has it, so far, as we suspected it would be.
You brought the popcorn, right?
Oh, right, absolutely.
Out. Game. Kenin.
So Kenin back in front. There's been one of the big seeds has gone out today in the women's draw without playing. Elena Rybakina has been forced to withdraw. But as you just said to me, that's not a huge surprise, Irina, that Rybakina not able to take to the court today.
Yeah, hasn't really been practicing much leading up to her first round against Destiny Ayava. She played a qualifier. It's always tough playing qualifiers. She's got 3 matches under her belt. But she just didn't seem like she was totally there on the court. Granted, there's not much emotion that comes from Elena when you do watch her play, but she just didn't seem like she was totally there. Yeah, it's wonderful there by Sonia. I love the fact that she was inside the baseline. Once again, just great disguise. Did so well with pushing Pegula off the court, opened up the down the line. Very fluid with that motion.
Out. Watch that pull. She loves that pull forehand cross. Just watch it.
Yeah, we talked about that forehand cross court, Nick.
Yeah.
There's Jessie Pegula's coach.
Here's Mark Merklein.
Yeah, you can start to see the frustration there from Jessie Pegula, especially when you have your coach telling you what to look for and still make the error. It's tough.
Yeah, Kenin's applying a lot of pressure at the moment. Apart from that one bad game, the level's been high from the former Australian Open champion.
Out. 30-40. Juice.
That's 3 first serves there, Nick. Just coming in clutch. Down break points and was able to utilize that serve very effectively. Great placement.
Yeah, interestingly, both players with virtually identical numbers in terms of points won behind both first and second. 50% bang on behind the first.
Out. Game. Pegula.
Did well. Shown a little bit of frustration.
Just stay the court. Stay on
4 games all.
She's going to be up and down.
First set.
It's hard. This girl can play. It's all good. It's all good. Stay with it.
She sure can.
Probably something Jess knew already, in fairness. But
this is not news to me,
no,
Mark.
exactly.
Thank you for this information.
Cementing what you already knew.
Yeah, but I think it's also good for a coach to say that, because when you're a top 10 player, like you almost expect to go through those first early rounds and
Yep.
get through them. But when you know, hey, I'm going to face a tough opponent today, I have to bring it.
Sure. Ups the intensity almost
Absolutely.
a little bit, yeah, if needed.
Last. Second serve.
It's actually pretty rare that the net dies like that here at the US Open. Go to Wimbledon, you see that all the time. It's a dead net court, but here,
Just
yeah, here they're pretty lively, the nets. Doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. That's great footwork there by Sonia. Just love the balance throughout that entire stroke. There's not a lot that can go wrong with it, and especially when she stays, that shoulder turn so effective.
Gonna really get on the second serve there, wasn't she? Jumped on top of that one.
Sure, even off the ground. Big middle.
That's a great play, I think. You don't really want to give that angle, that forehand cross court to Kenin. Deep middle is definitely the way to go for both players, I think.
Yep. Oh, that's so close over the course of the tournament, but this is a matchup that a lot of people want to come to see, and on the evidence of the opening 35 minutes, it's understandable. It's been high quality.
Out. 15 love.
Pegula marginally better defensively, would you say, or not much in it?
Well, that's a toss-up, Nick. I mean, that's a really tough one, just because I think Sonia anticipates really well, but Jessie's been moving exceptionally well, and the way that she's able to hit some incredible shots out of position, out of the court.
38 love.
And I think it's one thing, okay, you defend the ball and you get the ball back, but the way she defends and what she does with the ball, even when she's in defensive mode, she automatically shifts it to offense.
It's easy to forget that Jess's movement in the early days was pretty limited, wasn't it? And I mean that with the greatest of respect, but so good. If you looked at her maybe 7, 8 years ago and you saw her journey, Arena, she's come a very, very long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Athletically.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I played her in 2011, and to see what she's doing now, and just to see how effective she's playing. Her movement is very efficient, I think, and that's what has really helped her so much.
Well, that was audacious. And it was executed beautifully.
5 games all, first set.
Once again, just a wonderful shot placement. Seeing that Kenin was probably expecting that deep slice, which she's been hitting really well today. Both these players just, I feel as though they have so many tools in their tool belt.
Yeah. Makes it a fun matchup, doesn't it? No room these days, is there, for an average athlete in this sport on both the men's and the women's side. You look at Swiatek, you look at Gauff, you look at Sabalenka, obviously a different frame. The coverage of the court of these players now. They shrink the court, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just the amount of power that these players are able to produce. Look at someone like Jasmine Paolini.
Yeah.
The shape that she gets, being 5'3", it's incredible. I think it should give maybe the shorter people of the world a little bit of hope, feeling as though that they can also achieve something. And you see her and you wouldn't think, oh, she's a top 10 player.
Yeah. Yeah, top 5 in the world now, Paolini. Yeah. Incredible effort.
Yeah, and then also winning the gold medal with Sara Errani, doing incredible things, both in singles and in doubles. And in her later part of her career, I remember playing her in 2018.
Amazing. Yeah, you could sense the disappointment from Pegula after that miss. Just makes the game look crazily easy. Been a good first set, this. In competitive. Pegula serving to take us into the breaker.
Are you kidding me with that? The shot quality, the control, the depth. Incredible point. I was just a bit unlucky there. I think a little bit of frustration there. Had some words with the umpire.
Rushed that one a little, didn't she? It's remarkable, really, when you look through the head-to-head, because we referenced how tight these matches have been, but the player that actually has lost the opening set has won all 4 matches, remarkably, in their 4 previous meetings. Not always the case.
Yeah, I think Jessica Pegula also just does such a good job with disguising as well. You know, in that takeaway, you have no idea where she's going because she has that inside-out forehand that's so effective as well.
(40-15).
I think he meant weapons.
Yeah, multiple.
She's got a lot of them.
Out. 40-30.
Kenin did a good job there off the return, because to get the length on the ball that she did and neutralize the serve was outstanding. Finds a way to get it done though. And this opening set, fittingly, given how competitive it has been, will be decided on a breaker.
I know you're there. She'll double. Yep, for sure. Here we go. And when you're in the forehand with her, you can you take the, if you want to shoot line, do it.
He's a good player back in the day, was Mark.
That's a great job. Great control there by Sonia. It's very easy, especially when you get a return that has not a lot of pace on it. You have to create pace, which is kind of weird because you're hitting a drop shot.
Yeah. And she has great control of it when you consider that she doesn't really hit a slice normally, does she? Do you know what I mean? She doesn't hit a lot of slice from the back, but actually has the ability to, the feel that she possesses to produce that shot.
Yeah, I think it's feel and also just court awareness. She saw Jessie Pegula already 3-4 feet behind the baseline, knew that it didn't have to be that good of a drop shot.
Yeah. Kenin, for the most part, has actually won the majority of the longer rallies. Just had been given a number here. Certainly those rallies over 5, Kenin has won 2/3 of them so far, in the region of. Not on that occasion.
Yeah, I love that play by just Pegula, just continuing to push Sofia Kenin back and back, not really allowing her to hit that forehand cross and give her control.
Signs of exhaustion.
Left for serve.
Feels like she's stepped up her game, doesn't it?
5-2.
Just when required here.
It really does, and I feel as though so many of the top players do that. As an opponent, you feel, okay, I'm in this, and then they just shy away just by a tad, and that's all it is, especially at this level.
5-3. Pegula.
So good, such good use of the slice to defend with depth.
6-3. Pegula.
Yeah, Pegula just doing such a good job with her defensive skills. You almost feel as though Kenin might be pressing just a tad.
Chances for Pegula to seal the set here.
She was there, Nick.
6-4.
She anticipated
Pegula.
well. Pegula did, just maybe not the greatest choice there.
The world number 6 wins a very competitive opening set here. 51 minutes it took. Pegula is halfway towards round 3. So just Pegula
Second
having
set.
been
Pegula to serve.
You can use the cutter into the forehand body, so I'm not so much away.
getting a fair bit of information distributed her way so far today. Of course, ended her partnership with David Witt, didn't she, a while ago now? David now working with Francis Tiafoe, a man in demand.
Out. 30 love.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that partnership between David and Jessie. I feel as though they really meshed on the court really well, and I think they ended on fairly good terms.
Yep. You referenced earlier on the fact that, you know, is it possibly in her head that she hasn't made it beyond the quarters of a major arena? We don't know the answer to that. Only she knows the answer to that. But is that a hurdle that, do you think, mentally she's got to overcome? Because tennis-wise, it seems to be there, right? I mean, clearly it's tough at the top, but you feel like it should happen for her at some point. Would you agree?
It's almost weird,
yeah,
Nick, to be honest, but it's so tough because she's playing the Sabalenkas, the Rybakinas, the Swiatek's in the quarterfinals. Those are very tough opponents to get through. Granted, she has played and beaten them several times, but the experience that those three maybe have compared to Pegula, I think, of course, it's a hurdle. I think she will get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, those defeats instantly in the quarters of major. She has made the quarters of all four. Barty, Swiatek twice, Azarenka in Australia, and possibly the one that you could look at and say will be a little disappointing would have been the defeat of Vondrousova. 4 in the third at Wimbledon in the quarters. Vondrousova went on to win the title, but
right.
I guess if we're being picky,
yeah,
that might be the one that she looks at and say, "Up." I have to ask her.
Deuce.
I think a lot of players, and I'm sure I'll hear about this, but you almost feel as though belief is the biggest reason, the biggest hurdle that kind of doesn't allow you to get over that hump.
Sure.
And you just wonder what, I'm sure she's doing all the right things for it.
Advantage, Kenin.
And I think she's already surpassed what she thought she could accomplish in tennis as well. I think she tweeted about it a while back.
Yep.
If someone would have told me what I've accomplished so far,
Absolutely.
I would have never believed it.
Yeah, we're just trying to sort of, from her perspective, look at what could be next, aren't we?
Right.
I'm sure she is as well. Oh, what a start to the second that is.
At the end of the day, you have to take care of the match in front of you. So many times, you barely finish the match and they're already saying, okay, next match, you have this person.
Yeah.
You don't really have that opportunity to enjoy your wins. And gosh, she's had a lot of them.
Absolutely.
La Petite.
It's a constant treadmill, isn't it, this sport? Unforgiving.
Absolutely. It's the most amazing thing in the world, but also just so cruel.
Yeah, Karen Khachanov actually opened up pretty candidly about his defeat yesterday. Of course, he was up 4-love, 40-15 on Evans, and posted on social media, just tried to open his heart as to the devastation that he felt in that loss and how you overcome it. How did you get over defeats? How did you get over bruising defeats in your career? Did you get easier as it got older, or not?
You know, I would like to say yes. Yes, it did. I think Maria Sharapova said one of the most enlightening things I think a lot of junior players can also learn from this. After a tough loss, she was in the press room, and they asked her, you know, how is it that you're able to come each week and just get through those matches that you lose and still show up? And she said, you have to have amnesia, because every day is a different story, every day is a different match, every week is a different week, a different opportunity. And so when you have that mentality and you know that next week I have another opportunity, I think it loosens you up, frees you up. Absolutely. Allows you to play. I have yet another day to play.
15-40.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of coaches as well say you've got to learn how to lose, and a lot of people look at that and say, what are you talking about? It's not the attitude to have, but it's not meant that way, is it?
Right. Yeah, I remember I had just lost the match. I lost to Luisa Chirico first round in Madrid after I'd won a title. So feeling fairly good, but I had just lost in the qualies, like 2 and 3.
Yep.
She beat me fairly easy. And I was in the locker room and in the hot tub with Bethany Maddox-Sands. And, you know, we're having a long conversation, smiling, laughing, like telling jokes. And she looks at me, she's like, dude, how are you so okay right now? You just lost the match. I was like, there's next week.
Yeah.
There's next week and the week after that.
Deuce.
Certainly builds resilience, this sport, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Has to.
And speaking of resilience, Jessie Pegula has come out with what's been going on with her mom and have to deal with that and also perform at the highest level, but also you want to be there for your family. It's incredibly difficult. On the same token, Sonia Kenin wins a Grand Slam, and to be able to come out after that, and she dropped in the rankings. Gosh, I played her in qualifying of Wimbledon last year.
Yeah.
So to see all the struggles that she's had to go through as well. So many momentum shifts, peaks and valleys throughout a career.
Deuce.
Yeah, it's a great serve there by Sonia. Just took a little bit off of it. Really utilized that slice. Tossed it a little bit to the left of her. Excuse me, to the right of her.
Yeah, Kenin, of course, winning the Australian Open back in 2020, beating Muguruza in the final there, having beaten Barty, the top seed in the semis. Let's not forget how big that win was against the home crowd as well. Barty 6-5.
Advantage Kenin.
And only a few months later, she was making the final of the French. What a year it was. Either side, of course, of the COVID lockdowns.
I think we touched on it earlier, Nick, just her mental fortitude. Sonia does not really care who's on the other side. And she just plays her game. She just plays the ball. And I think that has helped her so much throughout her career.
Yeah.
I like this patience here by Pegula. Just wanted to take a swinger, but just took back and decided to let that ball drop. Just really good job with the feet, finding enough room.
Again, just great length, isn't it? And the shape of the ball, you can see it's a fairly flat ball, so it's traveling quickly. It's onto Pegula. There's not really a lot of time for Jess to get behind that one. The pressure is on. Rushing her.
I can tell you right now, both of these girls have done a lot of depth drills with coaches, let me tell you. Such length in their strokes.
It was always going to be difficult, wasn't it?
That was a great change of play there by Sonia. Just saw that she wasn't sure if it was going to go in, and then she saw that it was in, and she did such a good job with creeping in very sneakily and just going open court here. Maybe a little too close to the line.
40-30.
Great serve, +1 there.
Fortuitous, but it does get her moving in this second set. Pegula. Kenin has made the Mira Andreeva today. Good week for Kruger. Hadn't won a major match until a couple of days ago. Now she's won 2. So guaranteed to be at least 6. Of course, Lindsay Davenport is the Billie Jean King Cup captain for the United States. So Lindsay keeping a close eye on what's going on over the fortnight.
Sneaky little inside out backhand there by Jessica Pegula. I love that. That's not a shot you see very often, Nick. You just feel as though this is such an important game for both of these players. For Kenin, she wants to keep elongating that gap between her and Pegula. But Pegula wants to make sure she finishes this in 2.
Yeah, the winner will play Jessica Bouzes Maniero, who beat Katie Bolter earlier on today in straight sets.
Out. 30-40. Game Pegula. 2 games all, second sets.
Reminder, do head to usopen.org if you haven't already. You can download the app as well. Want some information on there. Up to date with everything that's going on here in week 1 of the last major of the year.
Out. 15 love.
I don't know what you think, Nick, but you just feel as though in those last 2 games, Sonia just kind of went away a little bit. Those unforced errors really racked up.
30 love.
Yeah, and I guess if we're trying to identify differences between these 2 players, you'd probably have to say that the level that Pegula maintains throughout the course of a match probably is a little more stable than Kenin's.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's also really tough for Kenin right now, because you feel as though maybe you have to press a little bit more because you are playing a top player, and that's the effect of playing against someone in the top 10. You just feel as though you have to go for so much more, when in fact just trust the game that's gotten you here and just keep making the right decision.
Out. 14-15.
actually been given the spin rates. We often like to look at spin rates in terms of the shape on the ball, and it's amazing because they're almost identical, forehand and backhand.
That's incredible.
Is not a surprise to you,
No.
I know, Irina, but you know, when we look at the amount of spin that both have on the ball, forehand and backhand, it's almost identical. Both, as Irina was saying, hit the ball very flat, largely. Needed a bit of extra shape there, though, did Pegula, who gets it.
Pegula leads.
15 minutes into it, in front of a nigh on capacity crowd on Louis Armstrong. Plenty have come in for this one.
Yeah, I think Madison Keys actually spoke about this being one of her favorite courts. It's just got a very intimate feel to it, and fans are allowed to sit anywhere. Can get pretty rowdy.
Yep. Yeah, I suspect it will do this weekend as well. Labor Day weekend tends to be packed in here.
15 all.
Yeah, they're hopeful again of getting over 1 million fans in through the gates over 3 weeks. Well, the USTA continues to grow year upon year.
You were talking about that spin rotation, Nick. If we were courtside right now, that ball's probably got an inch or two over the net. Not a lot of room for error.
Out. 30 all.
That's 2 second serve return misses by Jessie Pegula. Not something you see very often. She's going to want those back. It's just so important. You have to make your opponent play when you have a second serve look.
Well, a drop shot is something that she utilizes very often, but it was a disappointing one.
Yeah, I don't think that she meant it for it to be that high. Gave Jessie Pegula just so much room to work with.
Advantage Pegula.
Kenin in a hurry here. Things may be slipping away from her. And a 6th double could prove fatal to her
Pegula
chances,
leads 4 games to 2. Second set.
because the world number 6 has got a significant lead right now.
15 love.
Kenin looks as though her head has just dropped a little here, doesn't it? Needs to dig in and dig deep right now.
Yeah, it's so difficult because she's a player that is quite quick on the court. She goes from point to point. So even when she misses, she's on to the next one. When you almost want to just tell her to slow down, things are getting away from you. This is a time when just take a towel break.
40 love.
You've had 2 missed returns there. You've hit an ace. This is when Pegula's at her best.
That's beautifully controlled. And Pegula well and truly has control of this match right now. They had a win yesterday, but that might be her sole focus from here on in.
Not done yet, Nick.
15 love.
That was an incredible get there. It's a great return by Jessica Pegula, but I don't think she was expecting for Kenin to be able to redirect that well. Great legs there, great extension.
Set up very invitingly.
A bit unlucky there for Kenin. A bit lucky there for Pegula. That would have been a winner had it not grabbed the let. I think we mentioned this earlier. There's been quite a lot of lets here today.
Well, she certainly has the quality to try and claw this back.
I don't know about you, Nick, but I always thought 2-5 was always such a dangerous score in tennis.
Good numbers in this set, certainly behind the first serve for Pegula.
It's a great way to start, though. Yeah, her serve motion, there's not a lot that can go wrong with it. It's so fluid, technically so sound.
It would be the 5th time in her career that she's made the 3rd round here at the US Open. Twice has she gone further. Each of the last 2 years, in fact. Just not quite been able to maintain the level, has she?
40 love.
As this match has slipped away from her. And Pegula has reached match point.
Game, center match, Pegula.
Some way to finish.
5-2 sets of love.
And Jess Pegula
7-6.
wins the All-American battle here on Armstrong. Just a little too good when it really mattered for Sofia Kenin. And for a 5th time in her career, it's Pegula that's into the 3rd round here at the Open.
Yeah, I think you said it.